come after us.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank
you. If that's not bravery, I do not know what is. Woo! Okay, we're bringing up another group of women. Ashley, Danny, Jess, Haley, and Wendy. Come on up.
Here we go.
Okay. Well, this will be fun. So my name is Ashley Rubright, and I am a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Some things I want to say. To any survivors out there who feel like they don't matter, it doesn't matter if you went once or countless times. We were groomed, we were manipulated, and we were taken advantage of.
Yep.
For decades, survivors have been suffocated by speculation. We've been mocked, we've been doubted, we've been re-traumatized, while those responsible hide in secrecy. Why don't we deserve justice? This is not partisan. However, this is very political, as the only path to justice is through our political system. And this is about justice. This is about accountability. This is about protecting the innocence of our children and honoring the dignity of survivors. Everywhere we turn, the story follows us. It's in headlines, jokes, music, grocery store checkout lines, random conversations that you hear people having in restaurants. For more than 20 years, we've been unable to escape it. And every time new promises are made, our sparks of hope are lit, only to be extinguished again. We are tired. However, we are not going away.
That's right. That's right.
We will not stop or give up, and we will be on the front lines of this battle. We are no longer scared. And let's be clear, there were so many enabling adults. Those enablers actively turned a blind eye, and they are the greatest danger.
Yep.
Yes.
And you know who you are,
Yep.
as do we. You allowed us to be abused for a fat check and a cushy life, which you still have. And to those in power, hear us clearly. Do your job.
Hey.
Release what needs to be released.
Yep.
Yes.
And hold those responsible accountable. Survivors, sorry. Thank you. Survivors deserve peace. Survivors deserve truth. Survivors deserve justice. And to my fellow survivors, your voice matters, your story matters, and you matter. Together we are louder than the silence. Together we will not stop until justice is done.
Good afternoon. Wow, a lot of people showed out for us today.
That's right.
I wasn't expecting all this support. What an incredible feeling, and thank you for everybody for being here. I'm going to try to make this as quick so the other girls don't have to be crunching for time. My name is Haley Robson. I came out in 2019 on the documentary Filthy Rich. I have been very focused on bringing more awareness to all of the survivors. I am so proud to stand with them. I am so proud to be up here to support them because they deserve all the love and support. And I just want to say to the women who chose this moment to come out for the very first time about your abuse, I cannot think of a more important, greater purpose in life than to stand in solidarity when time is against us, when the politicians have made us an enemy, when the world is watching and everybody is hoping for some type of result. Thank you for choosing this moment for the first time to be so brave to come out and stand in solidarity. I prayed for a moment. I prayed for this moment where God would fill us with reinforcements. I want to acknowledge all the women, unfortunately, that couldn't be here today, because I think that is the only list of real great importance, and we should never forget the voices that were not only silenced, but that are not here today, and we should never forget the sacrifices that they made. So today I would like to take a moment for Virginia, Sky, Danielle, and Carolyn. Their voices were just as powerful, and they were silenced just as much. And for some reason, I can feel their spirit, especially Virginia's today. She would be so proud, and she would be so beside herself to see this one moment we have all came together to unite. And for our government, and for the politicians who have taken our trauma and have weaponized it against us, making it unbearable, making it unlivable, making it hard to move on in a life that we wish to live in happiness and joy and peace and injustice that can only come from within at this point. And we have gotten to this point. Shame on you. Shame on you for using our trauma to weaponize this moment. We are not going to be fooled by your trickery. We are not going to be fooled by the lies, by the conspiracy theories. We are the keys to this situation. We have the truth. And the FBI knows the truth. The government knows the truth. You may pull the wool over the sheep's eyes, but we are the keys. We know who was involved. We know the game. We know the players. And we are sitting here for 20 years waiting for you to get up and do something. Well, guess what? Your time is up, and now we're doing it.
How do you follow that? Hello, everybody. My name is Wendy Passante, and I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein when I was 14 years old. I'm not here to relive what happened. I'm here to be counted and to make sure others are counted too. I once believed my silence was strength. Hold it together. Don't draw attention. Today I know that strength sounds like my voice. It sounds like everybody's voice is up here. Silence only protects predators, not children. People ask, what about the victims? We're here. We're here today, and there's more of us. I stand with many who are still finding their words. I live in a world where being understood is a struggle, where people in power would rather sweep us under the rug in hopes that we'll go away. We won't. Being a survivor is not a headline. It's our life. We have to live it. It's panic in a grocery store. It's smiling at work while my hands tremble. It's waking up at 3 a.m. with my heart racing and not knowing why. It's living with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and your nervous system's on guard at all times, even in the safest room around the safest people. Healing isn't tidy. It's therapy. It's wait lists. It's trying a medication and trying again, over and over, for years. It's setting boundaries with some people who won't understand. Survival isn't weakness, it's wisdom we've earned. If you are a survivor hearing me, your voice is never too late, too much, or too little. If all you could do was show up today, you're already trying to make a difference. You do not owe anyone your story. You are owed safety, care, and belief. Your breath is proof that harm does not get the last word. I'm not asking anyone to take a political side. I really don't even follow a lot of politics. I'm asking you to take a stand in solidarity. Protect the vulnerable, not the powerful. Protect children and survivors, not titles and reputations. Our silence doesn't keep us safe. And I hope today's courage from all of us ladies can help someone else be safer tomorrow. We are here and we refuse to be erased. Thank you guys for listening to all of us and being here today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. As I stand here today and look around, I want to acknowledge what it feels like to be in the presence of these incredibly brave, powerful women that I stand up here with. I am so empowered by each and every one of your fortitude, and I am following in the brave footsteps of those that came before me. While we each have our own stories and walk down different paths of life, we are bonded together as survivors. When I look into these beautiful faces, I am reminded that we all started our journeys with big hopes and dreams. Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, stole and systematically destroyed those dreams. We are a mosaic of shattered hopes and dreams at their hands. As an aspiring dancer, the manipulation came in forms of offering me dance studio space, discussing opportunities to meet with ballet masters, and aiding a very ill family member of mine, none of which would ever come to pass. Instead, I was left in a cycle of abuse that wore me down and broke me. When it happened, I would have to completely disassociate. Similar to a coma, my brain would need to protect itself, so I would retreat in choreographing in my own head to escape the cruel acts that were being carried out on my body. After, I would go to the studio bundled in giant, baggy clothing. I remember standing there, staring in the mirror as if it were an empty void. I was past the point of tears. There was nothing left. I was a hollow shell of myself. I could no longer watch my body move, let alone dance. He had taken something sacred from me. 2 decades later, I am still experiencing lingering effects of what happened to me as a teenager. I am just one story in the mosaic of women taking back their power by confronting the horrific truths of their pasts due to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We stand here today in the nation's capital for no other reason than to say that women's voices will not be marginalized. We stand together as a mosaic of stories, but we're also finding our way back to ourselves. We are reclaiming the fragmented shards of the hopes and dreams of our past to paint a better future for the next generation of women. This story has come to Washington to be told. We will be heard. Thank you.
My name is Jess Michaels, and I'm a 1991 Jeffrey Epstein survivor. 27 years. For 27 years, I thought I was the only one that Jeffrey Epstein raped. I believed I was alone, and I was kept silent by the shame that was inside me and by the fear outside in the world. But I wasn't the only one. None of us were. And what once kept us silent now fuels that fire and the power of our voices. We are not the footnotes in some infamous predator's tabloid article. We are the experts and the subjects of this story.
Yes.
We are the proof that fear did not break us.
Yes.
And we don't just speak for ourselves, but for every survivor whose story is still unspoken.
Yes.
For those not with us today. For Virginia, whose courage lit the path and opened the door for us to walk through. This is what power looks like. Survivors united, voices joined, refusing to be dismissed. Know this, justice and accountability are not favors from the powerful. They are obligations decades overdue. This moment began with Epstein's crimes, but it's going to be remembered for survivors demanding justice, demanding truth, demanding accountability, and we will not stop until survivor voices shape justice, transform culture, and define the future. We are no longer whispers. We are one powerful voice too loud to ignore, and we will never be silenced again. Thank you.
Okay, we're in the home stretch. We are going to bring up Eric Feduli, who is a lawyer. Sometimes survivors are ready to be seen, they're not ready to be heard. And so we would love to bring you up because you represent so many survivors who are so critical to this story.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Fudali, and I've had the privilege of representing up to 11 survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, and one of them is standing next to me here today. This is Rosa. You may not realize this, but what I just did is the first time anyone has ever said Rosa's name publicly as being attached and being abused by Jeffrey Epstein. And this is also the first time she has ever appeared publicly as a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein. And I say that because it was last night that she flew into Washington, D.C., inspired by the solidarity of all of you, by the compassion of all of you, and by the courage of all of you to be here today. And I'm so proud of Rosa, and I'm so proud of all of you. But the truth is, Rosa shouldn't be here today. Rosa shouldn't have to be here today, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Rosa was trafficked from Uzbekistan under the guise of a modeling contract in 2009. That means that Rosa wouldn't be here today if Alex Acosta hadn't had Jeffrey Epstein in his grasp, had what every single law enforcement officer dreams of, to stop a predator in his tracks. And what did he do? He gave him a slap on the wrist and let him to continue to abuse. And had he not, Epstein never would have met Rosa, and Rosa would not have to be here today. But none of you should have to be here today. None of you should have to be there today, because if when Jeffrey Epstein was finally arrested in 2016 and under federal custody, he wouldn't have been allowed to take his own life and avoid the accountability and justice you all deserve. And none of you should be here today because Ghislaine Maxwell should not have been given a platform to deny the crimes against her, who was convicted of trafficking and tricking 14-year-old girls. She should not have been given a platform, and she should not have been rewarded after that platform in a minimum security resort. And none of you should have to be here today because they should just release the files. No more slow rolling, no more meetings, no more strategy, no more interviews behind closed doors. Release the files and give you all, and Rosa, the accountability, the exposure, and most importantly, the closure you all deserve. Thank you.
Our last speaker this morning is no stranger to the plight of survivors. And so with that, I'd love to welcome Gloria Allred to wrap us up here.
Give a big round of applause to all the survivors and all the victims and all the supporters today. I commend you, and it matters that you're here. Let me just say, your voice is important, but power only recognizes power. And for many years, we have not exercised our power in a way that help win change. And you all and we all have been betrayed. I represent Alicia Arden and 26 other brave survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and some of Ghislaine Maxwell. And in 1997, my client Alicia Arden went to the police in Santa Monica and said that she had been the victim of sexually inappropriate conduct by Jeffrey Epstein when he invited her to be auditioning for Victoria's Secret catalog. And she went to the police, and they said, why don't you think about it before you file a police report? She thought about it and came back the following week and filed the first documented police report against Jeffrey Epstein in 1997. And you all were betrayed because there was no prosecution. Believe women. Let's hear it. Believe women. Believe women. Believe women. And then the victims and all of us were betrayed when, in Florida, Mr. Acosta made that deal, U.S. Attorney, is for the Southern District of Florida, made that deal that instead of 60 felony counts that could have been filed by the United States Attorney, 2 counts were filed by the state attorney, and Jeffrey Epstein, without having a trial, was able to go to his office every day as part of the sentence and just sleep in the jail at night for 13 months. Is that justice? No! You were betrayed. And then, of course, there was New York. New York, where Jeffrey Epstein was brought in, arrested. I saw him at the last hearing in federal court. And so many victims and so many survivors thought, at last there's justice. But instead of justice, there was a dead body, the Metropolitan Correctional Center. And questions are still being asked. Was it suicide? Was it homicide? But the victims never got to testify at trial and confront that sexual predator. Was that justice? No! We're overdue for justice. We're not going to be waiting for justice. We are fighting for justice. And let me tell you, no more talk of the word pedophiles, which only means a man who is attracted to children. We're not talking about pedophiles. We're talking about sexual predators and child molesters. Let's get the word in about what the crime was that they committed. Do you agree? Yes. And finally, let me just say, these predators took advantage of vulnerable children, of vulnerable adults. We know how vulnerable women can be. And they abuse their power, and they abuse their trust. And it's time to meet power with power. There are 3 stages of evolution. The first is victim, the second is survivor, and the third is fighter for change. Are you going to be fighters for change? Not just today, but every day. Not just in politics and Congress, but in lawsuits, in speaking to people, your co-workers, your children, your mothers. Help them, support them to stand up to win justice, because nobody has ever given women and children any rights. We've always had to fight to win them. We've had to fight to keep them. Will you fight that fight? Yes. And I leave you with this, one of my favorite sayings. pray for the dead, and that's for Virginia Roberts and all those who didn't make it here today. Pray for the dead. But fight like hell for the living. Keep up the fight. Let me hear it. Keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. One last unbelievable rallying cheer for all the survivors here. What do we want? When do we want it? Now! Okay, everybody, there's the press conference starting in a few minutes. Do you want to just go on over, and we'll meet you over there, whoever wants to. Otherwise, stay here. We have this space for a while longer. Thank you so much.
I recorded all of it, too, just in case.
You know your business better than anyone, right? So why not build an app to run it with Base 44? This finance app solves your business headaches, tracking invoices.
It might be OFIC 19.
And yes, MAGA supporters, to demand truth and justice. A nation that allows rich and powerful men to traffic and abuse young girls without consequence is a nation that has lost its moral and spiritual core. Americans are asking a very simple question. How is it possible that in the richest, most powerful country in the world, there are corrupt special interest forces, both foreign or domestic, that are preventing the release, that have a stranglehold on our government and are preventing the release of the full Epstein files? There is something that is rotten in Washington. Less than 1% of these files have been released. We are demanding today on the discharge petition that all of the files be released. We know we have 212 Democrats, and we have 4 Republicans, courageous Republicans like Thomas Massie, Nancy Mace, who was so emotional yesterday after talking to the survivors, Congresswoman Boebert, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need just 2 more signatures to force the release. So we gather here on the steps of the Capitol to confront these corrupt forces. Today we stand with survivors. We stand against big money. We stand to protect America's children. That is really what this is about. I now want to bring up my Republican colleague, Thomas Massie. He has shown so much courage, so much leadership. And I saw some people, I say the same thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has shown so much courage on this issue. I saw some people when I was coming here calling her names. We've got to stop that. We've got to stop the partisanship on this issue. This is an issue where they both have shown real courage and leadership, and I appreciate them joining us today. Congressman Massie.
I want to thank my colleague Ro Khanna for co-leading this effort to bring transparency and justice for these victims. I hope my colleagues are watching this press conference. I want them to think, what if this was your sister? What if this was your daughter? When these survivors speak, the Washington establishment is asking the American public to believe something that is not believable. They're asking you to believe that 2 individuals created hundreds of victims and they acted alone, and that the DOJ has no idea of who else might have been involved, that nobody else did anything that rose to a criminal enterprise. The American people know that's not true. Now, the Speaker of the House just offered a fig leaf to my colleagues. They're going to vote on a non-binding resolution today that does absolutely nothing. I appreciate the efforts of my colleague James Comer, who's leading the Oversight Committee. They may find some information, but they're allowing the DOJ to curate all of the information that the DOJ is giving them. If you've looked at the pages they've released so far, they're heavily redacted. Some pages are entirely redacted. And 97% of this is already in the public domain. So I'm calling on my colleagues. Be one of the next 2 who sponsors this discharge petition. I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today we can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C. So today we're standing with these survivors, and we're giving them a voice, and I want to close by thanking them. They are brave. I hope they encourage other survivors to come forward and to tell their stories, not just of Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell, but anywhere in the country. This is a message that we are sending. This is a litmus test. Can we drain the swamp? Are there people who are outside of the reach of the law? I don't think there should be. So hopefully today we'll get 2 more signatures on the discharge petition. That's all we need. And with that, I want to introduce the bravest woman in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I find it interesting that the 3 Republican co-sponsors are women. These are women standing up for women. And Marjorie was the first to do it. And I think she deserves all of our gratitude for breaking that barrier and leading the way for the other Republicans. Hopefully they can find their spines as well. And with that, I give you Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes. Good morning. This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about. As a matter of fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration. I think this is something that was worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very, very young. But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996. And they have carried with them shame. But I want to tell you something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse. The shame falls on every single person that enabled it. The shame falls on every single person that took money to continue it. And the shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never receive justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries. Yesterday, I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us. And I want to thank Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie for doing something brave, crossing political boundaries for a very important fight. And I'm honored to join both of them. And I'm honored that Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert signed the discharge petition along with myself. And I asked my Republican colleagues not to choose just one path for justice and transparency and accountability, but I asked my Republican colleagues to choose every path for justice and accountability and transparency. And with that, I'd like to bring back Congressman Ro Khanna to start this important press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman Green, for your courage and for being here, and thank you again to Congressman Massie for co-leading it. I now would like to introduce two people who have been fighting this for decades. They haven't had their voice heard. The victims haven't been heard. They haven't just been on this in the last few months. They've been doing this in the wilderness for years, and they are really models of courage. Bradley Edwards and Brittany Henderson, who are the attorneys for the victims. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ro and Thomas Massie. I really appreciate you putting forth this discharge petition. It's tough to understand that we have to be here because this doesn't seem like a partisan issue. This is an issue, sex trafficking and sexual abuse transcends politics. We as Americans expect equal protection under the law, and there can be no doubt that Jeffrey Epstein received far greater protection than any of the victims that he abused for years. In 2008, Courtney Wild walked into my office because she was a part of a federal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, where all she wanted was the government to talk to her. Little did she know the government had worked out a secret immunity deal for Jeffrey Epstein, and we had to file Jane Doe's versus United States of America to prove that Jeffrey Epstein worked out an illegal non-prosecution agreement with the government. That was 2008. It took us 10 years battling the government pro bono for the judge to ultimately determine that the victims' rights were violated. The government has mistreated them after Jeffrey Epstein mistreated them. We then filed civil lawsuits against Ghislaine Maxwell, which has resulted in her being in prison. Our civil lawsuits led to her prosecution. We filed lawsuits against Jeffrey Epstein, against his estate, and against two financial institutions, JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, that proved that they knowingly provided the financial infrastructure for a sex trafficking operation. Unfortunately, all of the documents and evidence that we have worked so hard to gather hide behind protective orders, confidentiality agreements, and bank secrecy laws. That is why this discharge petition is so important. While we have seen the documents, you haven't. And when you see the documents, you're going to be appalled. And the American people deserve to see everything. When you sign this discharge petition, it should mean nothing is off limits. That means the documents in the possession of the CIA should be made available. Those in the possession of the FBI going back decades should be made available. The SEC, financial records in the possession of FinCEN should be made available. Everybody knows that evil flourishes in the darkness. Corruption flourishes in secrecy. It is time right now to make a difference for the women that are behind me right now. They have been courageous and fought through this whole thing. Whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, this one is an easy call. You're an American who cares about equal rights and equal protection under the law. If you care about these women, if you care about our country, and you care about this issue, this should pass with flying colors. I really appreciate everybody being here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Brittany Henderson, and I think in addition to thanking the wonderful congressmen and women who are here today, we need to thank the women, and not just the women who are going to speak, but the other women who are standing behind them, along with other lawyers, Sigrid McCauley, and people who have been fighting for a very, very long time for the world to give this kind of attention to an issue that it should have had forever. This administration has the opportunity to do what the past administrations did not do. This administration can either stand with the victims and stand for the victims, or it can continue to hurt the victims like has happened in the past. We aren't here just to ask for transparency, though. We're here too to ask for protection. The women here represent hundreds of other women who we have spoken to, many of whom were trafficked from other countries, from Eastern European countries where women don't have the rights that we have here. Women don't have the protections that we have here. And those women are terrified that their names will be released.
Monday.com's AI blocks are a total game changer.
Excuse me if I find that hard to believe.
You know that llamas are biologically...
We ask that you please, whoever is going to be in charge of redacting these files and in charge of this transparency, do it in a way that protects the women brave enough to be here, but also protects the women who are terrified that every day when they turn the TV on, something bad is going to happen to them in Ukraine, in Russia, in whatever country they live in, because no one is listening to them there. So thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and please protect these women while we seek transparency.
Good morning. My name is Anushka DeGiorgio, and I stand before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massey and Khanna for their role in putting together this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill really matters. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage and sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices mattered. Their stories must not be forgotten. Accountability is what makes a society civilized. equal opportunity and equal consequence for all. Consequences are not about punishment alone. They exist to deter future harm, to protect vulnerable, and to set a standard of justice. If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made to testify and make mockery of mine and all survivors' suffering. That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential. It requires the Department of Justice release all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigations, flight logs, immunity deals, internal communications, and even the records surrounding Epstein's detention and death. And crucially, it forbids withholding documents simply because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. This is about ending secrecy wherever abuse of power takes root. But transparency alone is not enough. Survivors need protection, resources, and legal support. If this Congress is serious about justice, then let this moment also affirm your commitment to provide victims with the legal aid they need to confront abusers, to navigate complex systems, and to reclaim their power. Transparency must be matched by support, or else too many victims will remain silent out of fear and lack of access. The statistics demand action. Nearly 1 in 5 women in America will experience rape or attempted rape in her lifetime. Every 74 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that person is a child. These are not numbers, they are people. They are your daughters, your sons, your constituents, your friends. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare. The days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. I want to help create a world where survivors of sexual abuse and abuse of power can come forward safely. And I ask Congress to join me in that effort, not only by passing this bill, but by ensuring that those who step forward have legal support to face their abusers and see justice done. When Judge Berman gave Epstein survivors the chance to finally speak, the world listened. After so many years, survivors were heard. That moment was historic, and so is this moment. For me, the turning point was when I had my daughter, and on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her and to protect all children. I have to use my voice, the voice that had been silenced by fear and shame for so many years. Make no mistake, my polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse. And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing. You have a choice. Stand with the truth, or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. And I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Annie Farmer, and I was 16 years old when I was flown to New Mexico to spend a weekend with Epstein and Maxwell. That same year, 1996, my sister, Maria Farmer, reported what happened to me there, along with reporting her own assault at their hands and their theft of sensitive photos of herself, of me, and our younger sister that she had taken for her work as a figurative painter. I am now 46 years old. 30 years later, we still do not know why that report wasn't properly investigated, or why Epstein and his associates were allowed to harm hundreds if not thousands, of other girls and young women. We have never been told whether those images were found when they discovered a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his property. As a psychologist, I understand that when the systems meant to protect us recreate the abuse cycle, the betrayal that occurs can be just as damaging as the original trauma. This happens when survivors of these crimes are not believed, when our well-being is not weighed as heavily as those who have more resources or more privilege, and when perpetrators of these crimes are given a platform rather than the survivors of them. For so many years, it felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret. Not only did many others participate in the abuse, it is clear that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so. They wanted access to his circle and his money. Their choice to align with his power left those of us who had been harmed by this man and his associates feeling very isolated. I could never have imagined being here today and this chorus of support that we have all received. I have been sent so many notes and messages from people with no direct connection to this case who've expressed their solidarity with us. And I believe that is because, in part, as Anushka explained so well, this is an extremely widespread issue of child sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of sexual violence. This affects almost every family in some way. From my conversations with women in these last few days and from all of the support that we've received, it's very clear to me that we are not going away, we are not going to be quiet, and we are not going to give up. And I ask the American public to stand with us and not give up. At a time with record high levels of distrust in our institutions and a perception that there are two Americas, one for those with power and privilege and one for everyone else, passing this Epstein transparency bill is one important step that can be taken to prove to Americans that the government does not side with sexual perpetrators. A thorough public review of this information is an important step in preventing the type of systemic failures that have occurred in this case and harmed all of us. An important step towards healing for those involved. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to say thank you, everyone, for being here today on this very powerful and special day for all of us here. My name is Marina Lacerda. I was minor victim 1 in federal indictment of Jeffrey Epstein in New York in 2019. I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know who were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time that I ever speak publicly about what happened to me. I never thought that I would find myself here. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say. As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice. For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American. I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey. It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give an older guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back. From 14 to 17 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important. I would finally have made it big, as, like we say, the American dream. That day never came. I had no way out. I was, until he finally told me that I was too old. There are many pieces of my story that I can't remember, no matter how hard I try. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself, but it's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this maybe and help me heal. They have documents with my name on them that were confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein's house and could help me put the pieces of my own life back together. But I don't have any of it. And I know the same is true for many of these women. We are here to support this bill today, not only for transparency, but for the American people. But if the government is going to release these documents to the public, describing the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and others, the least that they can do is give me my documents that they have about me. The other survivors deserve the same respect from our government. While our identifying information must be redacted to the public, it is equally important to provide the victims themselves with unredacted information. I will never forget when the FBI agent showed up in my door in 2008. Jeffrey Epstein hired a lawyer to represent me, or more like to represent him, I like to say. I couldn't ask any questions, and I had no idea what was going on. I was terrified. Until today, I think most of us are still terrified. I thought somebody was going to kill me. I thought something was going to happen to my sister or my mother. It went further out to even maybe thinking something would happen in Brazil with my family. And then one day, the lawyer said that everything was just going to go away. Like nothing happened. I didn't need to testify. When I asked him why, he gave no explanation. That was it. So why? Why was I never called to testify then? We could have saved so many women. We could have saved so many lives from being abused. Why did he get away with it in 2008? Why was he able to go on in the abuse with hundreds of girls after the Florida investigation? Why didn't they let me testify to help stop him? Our government could have saved so many women, but Jeffrey Epstein was too important and those women didn't matter. Why? Well, we matter now. We are here today and we are speaking and we are not going to stop speaking. Today, I stand here with the women who have really helped me to find the strength to come out and come forward to share my story for the very first time. Together, we are stronger than ever. While she may not be with us, Virginia Roberts, we will continue to use our voices to strengthen yours always. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Courtney Wild. I just wanted to take a second and just have a moment of silence for all the women survivors that aren't here with us today, that passed away due to anxiety, depression, trying to keep up with this case. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. My name is Courtney Wild. I was only 14 years old when I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by a 13-year-old friend of mine. The details of the abuse that he inflicted on me for years is not important today. In 2028, I was cooperating with the federal government in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. They sent me a letter telling me to be patient because this was going to be a lengthy investigation, but at the same time, they refused to talk to me and tell me what was going on. So I hired an attorney, Brad Edwards, because I was hopeful to get some answers. When I walked into his office at 19 years old, Brad sued the government for refusing to tell me what was going on under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. The only reason anyone ever found out that the government had already given Jeffrey Epstein immunity through the non-prosecution agreement was because our lawsuit forced the government to tell us. Otherwise, nobody would even know that today. Sometimes it's hard to believe that I had to sue the United States just to learn that my abuser was given immunity. I started as Jane Doe, but I decided I was proud enough to take on our country, and I was on the right side of history. We fought the government for 10 years to prove that the government violated our rights as crime victims and the crime victims' rights in order to protect a pedophile. We had to win the 11th Circuit Court Appeals to force the government to turn over thousands of pages of emails between Jeffrey Epstein and the government. Those emails provided the proof that the government worked very hard with Jeffrey Epstein to violate our rights. Why? Why did the government work so hard to protect Jeffrey and not so hard to protect me and my other innocent friends? Why was Jeffrey so important to the government, and why was I so insignificant? Why did nobody but our lawyers care before now? It seems people have only started to care because of Twitter and politics. But I would like to say this has nothing to do with politics. This is not a blue thing or a red thing. This is an everyone thing. We can all agree on this. The injustice that has happened here. Multiple, over and over. Everybody that talks about this just seems to make it worse. We need transparency. It's time for us to see beyond the curtain. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so protected? Who is still being protected? And who protected them all, so the world can understand how Jeffrey was able to abuse so many of us for so long. I was lucky to have Brad Edwards, Brittany Henderson, and Paul Cassell take on my case pro bono and fight fearlessly over 20 years' time. I would like to thank them, and I'd also like to ask the Trump administration to please sign off on the Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act, the Courtney Wild Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act that's we're trying to get passed here, so we can close the loopholes in the CVRA case that Epstein's attorney used to their benefit to get away with this. Thank you so much.
Good morning. First and foremost, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to Brad and Brittany Edwards, Congressman Massey and Kana, and above all, the brave survivors who have entrusted us with the privilege of speaking today on behalf of Virginia. Robert Giuffre, as her family. We are here today because we support H.Res.581, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, in its entirety. But as much as this bill is about shining a light on truth, it's not just about the bill. This is about justice. This is about survivors. This is about justice against the rich and powerful who have stolen something from these women, and many children at the time, their freedom. The freedom to live their life without mental and physical scars that have been inflicted upon them by those who thought they were untouchable. The same freedom that these monsters took from these survivors, they should never be afforded. They should never be allowed to continue their lives with impunity. Let's be clear, this is not a political issue. This is not about left or right. This is about humanity. This is about doing what's right. And this is about ensuring that the future we leave behind isn't one where the powerful can hide behind their wealth, their influence, and their money to evade justice. Our plea to you, whether you're a dad, a mom, a brother, or a sister, look your young ones in the face, look them in the eye, and tell them you didn't stand against the very people who raped, molested, and preyed upon children and young women. Tell them you were willing to negotiate a deal. Money should never be what makes something right or wrong. If you vote no, your stance will be clear. You will be choosing to stand on the side of the rich and powerful, allowing money to buy your way out of the consequence. But here's my one ask. Look these survivors in the eye and tell them why. Then, look the people of the United States in the eye and tell them why. And then, when you're alone, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why. Virginia said it best, and I quote, "I have physical and mental scars that will never heal. I have memories that will never go away. They say time can heal, but this won't. Not until the justice system makes an example out of these people with so-called privileges. I just call it money. The only time I can begin to heal is when their freedom is taken from them, just like they did to me and literally thousands of other victims. The survivors of this horrific abuse are watching. The American people are watching. And history is watching. Which side will you be on?" Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jenna-Lisa Jones, and I was only 14 years old when my friend brought me over to Jeffrey Epstein's house in Palm Beach in 2003. I had a terrible home life, but I was such an innocent kid then. I always did my best in school, and I had such a positive outlook on life. Until that day that I met Jeffrey, I have never been more scared in my life than I was that first time that he hurt me. I remember crying the entire way home, thinking about how I couldn't ever tell anyone about what actually happened in that house. This guy was so rich and had so many pictures with so many famous people, and no one would have ever believed me if I told them. I want to thank Congressman Rowe and Congressman Thomas Massey for having me here today. It was really hard for me to find my voice and to become strong enough to speak about my abuse. I didn't come forward until 2019, and even then it was like I was afraid of a ghost. I know that I was just a little kid, but sometimes I still feel like it is my fault that this happened. Not just to me and the women before you, but to the entire country. Together, we can finally make a change. And that is thanks to the people like these two congressmen and their teams who actually care about the victims. If you are a member of Congress and you are listening to all of us speak here today, please really listen to us. Please vote for this bill to be passed. Please recognize how important it is for transparency relating to Jeffrey Epstein. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, this does not matter. This is not about sides. You are an American, and you are a person who has chosen to serve in an elected position to stand up for those you represent who cannot always stand up for themselves. We are those people. We are the Americans that you promised to protect, and we need your help. Please, President Trump, pass this bill and help us. Make us feel like our voices are finally being heard. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley Robson. I was a 16-year-old high school student athlete who made good grades and had high aspirations for college when I was recruited and asked by a classmate of mine alongside with a 20-year-old male if I wanted to give an old rich guy a massage. But what high school girl would not want to do that? That day changed my life forever. And when I got into the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein undressed and asked me to do things to him. My eyes welled up with tears, and I have never been more scared in my life. When it was over, he paid me $200 and requested in exchange that I bring a girl each time to make another $200. I told him I did not want to do that, and then he gave me an ultimatum. Either you come here and massage me when I call you, or you bring me friends of yours to massage, and I will give you $200 per girl for each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go. I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I did not want to be sexually abused, I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time it would be the last time. One day, the stepmom of one of the girls brought him and called the police on Jeffrey Epstein. The police then called me in for questioning. I had told them the truth despite the fact that I was a teenager and a minor, and I was able to tell the police the names of all the other victims. The police treated me like a criminal. I had, by this time, had turned 18. I had been with Jeffrey since I was 16 and for 2 years. So they had told me so they told me I was going to be arrested. My name was then distributed to the press as a co-conspirator of my abuser, who I detested. My entire world was crashing in around me, and I started being threatened and bullied, till this day still receiving death threats. I was singled out and for many years had to suffer a smear campaign of lies about me because of the way that I was portrayed by the press. The press made me out to be a predator when I was just a 16-year-old little girl who was sexually abused by a powerful man and an evil man. For years, I had no friends. My boyfriend was murdered, and there was nowhere to turn. The government, after investigating more, learned that I was true a victim, but the damage was done and it was too late. There was no way to undo the harm the press had caused me. In 2019, I met Brad Edwards and Brittany Henderson. They changed my life and they believed in me and have helped me to finally heal. Healing is a process, and I may never get there. But the passage of this bill requiring the government to produce all the evidence that it has gathered on Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is a huge component of healing for me and for the many other women who have suffered for so long. For many reasons. First, we and the rest of the world need answers. Why was he so protected? And why didn't anyone ever care to stop him? It doesn't take a brain surgeon to know that if he is spending thousands of dollars a day paying high school girls he abuses and had a lot of access to cash. I learned through my attorneys in the JP Morgan class action case that there were years when his staff withdrew over $1 million in cash a year. Was that not a big enough red flag? There were wire transfers to other victims, and the government did not protect us. The banks did not protect us. So lift the curtain on these files and be transparent. Every single time a new conspiracy gets circulated in the media, whether he is still alive, what powerful person had him murdered, who was on the Epstein client list, and there are names going around on TikTok and Instagram, we, the survivors, are suffering severely. We take our kids to school and everyone is talking about it. We can't read the news or do anything without hearing crazy stories that are only able to live on because the government continues to hide the evidence and the truth. So people just make up stories. Those stories hurt. They hurt real people who have already been hurt. And we have lost so many Epstein victims to suicide, and maintaining the real truth in secrecy only allows for conspiracy theorists to tell lies that drives up our anxiety and fears and will continue to lead to more pain, more suffering, and honestly, more deaths of innocent victims. It's time you do is right by us. Unseal all the documents. We are requesting transparency, and I am requesting every congressman and woman that goes against this bill be outed. I want to know. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From Now On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
Hello, my name is Shantae Davies, and I'm here before you today as a survivor of decades of pain, trauma, and betrayal at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and the people who enabled them, and a government that for far too long refused to help. In 2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience, and when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life, and that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. But one thing is certain, unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again. There are files, government files, that hold the truth about Epstein, who he knew, who owed him, who protected him, and why he was allowed to operate for so long without consequence. Why was Maxwell the only one held accountable when so many others played a role? Why does the government hide this information from the public? This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And as long as the truth is buried, justice will remain out of reach. That is why this bill matters. Passing it will, bless you, ensure that the suffering of survivors is not in vain. Passing it will bring accountability, transparency, and prevention. It will help protect the next generation of predators who seek to place themselves above the law through wealth, influence, and connections. This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about the families broken and the futures stolen. So I ask you, President Trump and members of Congress, why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? Who are we covering for? Let the public know the truth. We cannot heal without justice. We cannot protect the future if we refuse to confront the past. Thank you.
Let's just give a round of applause for all the courage and strength that the survivors have shown. We now will take a few questions. You can always get Congressman Massey, me, or Congresswoman Green in the hallways and other places. If you have questions for us, that's fine. But I wanted to see first if you have questions for the lawyers and the survivors, and Brad will facilitate any of the questions to the survivors. Yes?
Yeah. This question would be for the survivors, Mr. Edwards. The president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
Oh, I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot, and it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
Ms. Edwards, I wonder if any of the victims could respond to the news from recently about Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred to a lower security prison in the aftermath of speaking to Talk Live.
You want that one?
About her transfer to a...
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to speak to that. We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty by a jury of sex trafficking. She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very sort of polite and minimizing term. She also participated in the abuse. She was a major architect of the scheme. And the fact that she has painted herself as a victim, I think is disgusting. And it was horrifying, I think, to us that we were not told about her prison transfer. We found out about it in the news.
Just
1 minute, I think Anushka maybe has something to say.
So, Anushka DiGiorgio, I testified alongside Annie at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. I was horrified when I found out not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security. It's really is like a holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen, when it had already happened. This woman abused children. I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting. And it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but at the possibility that's very much going around that she might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
And just for the last one, the last survivor who just spoke, the last survivor who just spoke, she said that Epstein would brag about her relationship with Donald Trump. Could she please elaborate about that?
Shante.
Get to the microphone.
Get close.
Yeah, I did say that. My first trip to the Palm Beach residence, I drove there from the airport with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very close.
Go ahead. What? One second.
Could you clarify, will the public get to see that list?
So Lisa, what's your envision here?
Is it going to go to the public or just amongst the survivors?
No, we're reaching out to survivors that are scared.
So come on up.
We're reaching out to survivors that are scared to come forward and that also know who they were trafficked to. So that's the list that we're compiling. We're not quite sure, how we're going to release that, or even if we're going to. The Department of Justice needs to release the list.
Right.
Yes.
For folks at home, they might be confused. Survivors know the names. You've seen these powerful people. Why can't you say the names? Could you just explain?
Why do we have to say the names when the government knows the names? And we're also scared to do so. Look what's happened to so many of the survivors that have revealed names.
Yeah, I find it question about the bill.
I think it's also worth saying that having represented, I think, between our firm and Boyce Schiller, hundreds of victims, and we've talked to them about the various people that they were farmed out to. So we've created somewhat of a list. Most of these individuals, the victims, are very scared to say these names because they could get sued, they're going to get attacked, and nobody protected them the first time. And that was against one person. So is there a list? There is a list, but just to dispel kind of the common theme here, every one of these women was abused by Jeffrey Epstein, and his scheme was to personally abuse women. When they reached a certain age, he did farm a section of them, some of them, out to some of his friends. That doesn't mean all of his friends. With that said, I'm more than happy to assist in helping create the list behind the scenes and see what we do with it.
But if someone's interested,
Go ahead.
Hold on. I think if someone's interested in prosecuting, they may have something different to say about sharing a list. But they're not sharing a list for nothing to happen, and that's the experience that they've had for all of these years.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. We're waiting to see the fate of this discharge petition right now as we're here. The speaker and others have said that the people he met with yesterday had concerns about your names being released if this bill were passed. And some people I talked to today are not signing the discharge petition because they say you don't want them to. Can you clarify if that is accurate?
Do any of the survivors here not want the bill to pass?
First of all, our legislation, Ro Khanna and I went through this. We talked about this, and we were very careful to make sure that there is an exception so that personally identifiable information, not just their names, but anything they could be identified by, would not be disclosed.
And can you speak to that as survivors yourself?
I think all of them are on the same page, that they want everything released.
Want the bill to pass.
Yes, they unequivocally redact personally identifying information and release everything else.
Mr. Edwards.
Okay.
Mr. Edwards, thank you.
Uh-oh. Yeah, sure.
Marina, you have stayed silent for so many years. Today, this is the first time, if we understand correctly, you have never before gone public with your story and to share this. Can you help us understand why today, why now, and why here?
Well, it is not okay for us to be silenced, and it's not okay for Jeffrey Epstein and everybody else to be put on a pedestal. I think everybody needs to hear from us because we know what went on, right? And there is not only me who's been silenced, there are hundreds of women that are silenced. My hope is to stop this abuse for the future, right? For people that are coming up, for women. My daughter, for example, these women have daughters. They most definitely don't want that anymore. And I think mainly this is therapy for all of us too. You know, we want to be heard. Nobody also has never asked me to speak. That's also another thing. So I can say for all of us here, we are here. We want this bill to pass. It is very important. Okay, and we need transparency. We are tired of looking at the news and seeing Jeffrey Epstein's name and saying that this is a hoax. We are tired of it. We are done. We're not going to be silenced, and I hope that my voice will bring other survivors and other victims to come along and speak up so that we can be more of a stronger voice and louder.
And so what is your message to President Trump on this?
Listen, I don't want to send a direct message to him. I'm already scared enough. Yeah. Just pass the vote. Listen to us. This is not a hoax. Like, it's not going to go away. And like I said on my speech earlier, we're not going to be silenced anymore. We will be speaking, moving forward, wherever we need to be. We will be, and we need to pass this.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Jordan Conrad from Gateway Pundit. You know, for years we've heard that there's an Epstein client list or some kind of a list. And now we hear from DOJ that there's no list. Question for all the victims. What do you guys think? I know you're working on your own list, but do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein had a list?
Yeah. So there's not a list. Yeah. So here's what it was. Just like you heard everybody today, Jeffrey Epstein created through an organization that of enablers, of people that were on his payroll. It was a complicated scheme where others should still be investigated because they helped to enable him and operate this scheme. Without those people, he could not have done this. But the purpose was for him to personally abuse people. With that being said, certain of his friends, he farmed out certain of the women that he was exploiting too. But that wasn't the primary purpose of that scheme. And I don't think he wrote the names of those people down. There's not a list of, hey, here's all of the people that I sent females to. That's just not how that organization worked.
Mr. Edwards,
agreed?
Is there any evidence that Jeffrey Epstein was involved with or tied to the CIA or a foreign intelligence operation?
I think that the safest thing for me to say is all files should come out, whether it is for this with the CIA, FinCEN, SEC, FBI. I'm not just making these up haphazardly. I'm giving you a roadmap where to look.
So if this bill
Go ahead. I'll go first and then I'll let them. They're much more important than me, but I don't understand why it's a hostile act. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that. He didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that's even up for debate. How do you not stand behind these women after you've heard their stories and know that hundreds of them were abused, and it was only because files are being kept in secrecy? The world should know who he is, who protected him, and the other people that are out there to be investigated need to be investigated. Go ahead.
People who are currently serving in government, who are named, who you know of, are in these files, who you had relations with, anything of that sort, who Jeffrey Epstein connected you with? Are you willing to say yes or no?
I don't think I can answer that. Sorry.
I think she's referring to my speech.
Hi, Anushka DeGiorgio. I have been threatened. I was threatened by phone. My daughter was threatened when I was volunteering to participate in, by means of being a witness in a civil lawsuit that Virginia Giuffre was bringing against Ghislaine Maxwell. I have been followed. I have been stalked. I have been followed not only by journalists, but by people who do not get out of the car and do not try and talk to me and just drive behind me as I drive my daughter to school. So the fear is very real for us. I have also been in multiple situations with both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell where they have been direct and indirect about implying and saying that if I was to talk, if I was to bring any kind of trouble, then there would be severe consequence, including death.
And just to add to that, Maxwell also threatened my sister Maria Farmer. When the FBI did nothing about her initial report, we did. She reported individually at that time, and then in 2002, we spoke to a reporter at Vanity Fair, telling our stories, fearful that perhaps other people were being harmed. We were not. We believed that was going to make a difference. We believed that would be put in print, and that story was crushed. And it was because of their power, and the message that we got from that was direct threats from Maxwell to my sister about her well-being and her safety and that of our family. So I think many people have similar stories of threats. That has been a very real part of this case.
Go ahead, over here. Do you want to address that?
I just want to say one thing that's very clear. When people say, please share names, there are names that are very well known, like that of Les Wexner, who everyone knows supplied an enormous amount of Epstein's financial wealth and allowed this operation to happen. So it's, I think, confusing to many of us why there have not been more ramifications for him, and he's been seen as a victim when clearly I believe there's more to it.
But, yep.
So you represented Virginia Roberts for 3 years. She eventually had to recant the allegations that she made against Alan Dershowitz. She alleged that
We're not
Don't
talking.
answer him.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Why is it that she should be...
Yeah, no, we're not answering your question. Anybody else?
Go ahead.
How did the victims feel about the interview that was given to Ghislaine Maxwell?
There's a woman trying to say something.
That's better. Okay, ma'am, I think that you had a question.
When you talked in the past on MSNBC,
Oh my God.
about the existence of the Epstein birthday book, have you yourself, in the course of litigation, seen it?
I don't know that we're able to reveal what we've seen and what we have not seen by way of protective order, but my point being in that circumstance was, if anybody wants answers, there's an easy place to get it. I told you where to get it. I said the estate of Jeffrey Epstein has it. Serve a subpoena on them. They'll turn it over. And if we had served a subpoena on them in the past, they would have turned it over and we would have seen it, which I don't usually miss subpoenas like that. So there we go.
Mr. Edwards, can you elaborate
Go ahead.
on the... Just say one thing on that. To your question about the allegations, there's a simple answer. Release the files. Let the American public decide. Instead of harassing, I gave you your say. Look.
You're hired by Dershowitz.
But, you've been heard. And even Alan Dershowitz says to release the files. Release the files. That is the answer, and that's what we're here for. And that is the. Yeah.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
Can you elaborate on the?
Sorry. Yeah.
You said that Donald Trump gave you help in 2009. Can you elaborate on your interactions with Donald Trump back in 2009? And for any of the victims, they didn't ever see the president, well then not president yet, but they never ever see Trump with Epstein in any way.
I don't know who's. I don't think that we can answer that question. Did anybody see Trump with Epstein back then? This is really not a political thing. We want the passage of the bill, and this is not to call out President Trump. My point was that he was friendly back then, did not think that it was a hoax, and was trying to help. And now it seems like all of a sudden somebody's in his ear and he's not. So I'm hoping he'll come back to where he was back in 2009, be on the side of the victims and stand with us.
On the passage of the bill,
Go ahead. Do you want to answer it? Teresa will step up.
I would, Teresa J. Home.
happy to speak on that because what I will say is she got this airtime and platform. Her voice was elevated way before our voices were elevated here today. And that same calm, manipulative voice that she had so polite there that day with Todd Blanche was the same polite, coercive, manipulative voice that I heard as she was grooming me to then send me off to the home of Jeffrey Epstein where he would assault me. So that's what she was doing for hours, speaking with me, building relationship with me, building trust with me, allowing me to believe that I was going to get this job, a dream job that I had been recruited from my college, flown across the country from Los Angeles to New York City to interview, so I thought. So her voice that day was the same voice that sent me off to a monster. So nothing can be believed from what she says because she's been charged with perjury. I myself could sit there and listen, and as I did, I sat there and listened to this woman's voice lie. And there was no pushback from Todd Blanche because does he even have the facts to be able to push back on her? We could sit there and push back. Why didn't we get to attend that? Why weren't we there that day? Or why wasn't even one of us consulted prior to that day in that meeting? And why on earth has she been moved from Florida to her, it basically is prison spa. I mean, let's be real. None of us were consulted. I found out just like everyone here found out through the media, through all of you. We found out about Ghislaine's transfer. So I'm very angry to sit there and listen. The feelings that come up listening to this woman's voice is repulsive. Yes, I would say it's triggering. We all work very hard on healing, and it still gets to us after 2 decades. It's a very long answer, but it's repulsive to sit there and listen to her voice in her interview.
Can we take two more questions? One over here. I think that there's nobody that's immune from us going after them if there's a legitimate action to take. So to the extent that that evidence exists, then show it to us and we'll help in every way we can. We stand with the victims. Okay. One more.
Can the survivors speak to, speaking of being threatened and being afraid to come forward with the story, to the case of Katie Johnson, who alleged that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein...
I don't think we can talk about. I don't think we can talk about that case. I do think it's worth saying, though, despite the comments that he made, Virginia Roberts Giuffre is an American hero. She is somebody without whom we would not be able to have this voice. She was the one who had courage to name names, speak out against people, and she was standing up against everybody at one time with an enormous amount of pressure.
And most of these women are here because of Virginia Roberts Giuffre. So,
all right, last one.
Clearly not us.
I don't think that anybody knows, but I can tell you that in the oversight committee meeting yesterday, they indicated that they were all for transparency, releasing the files, and asked us to hold them accountable. Isn't that right?
Yes.
They said hold them accountable, so we intend to hold them accountable.
That's up to them.
We're going to show them where to go with it, and as long as they're doing their job, they should. I'm going to turn it back over to Ro Khanna. Thank you.
Let me just say this. Let me say this. I think the people back who are testifying here today or speaking out today, they are American heroes. Let's give them another round of applause. And you say, look, Thomas, Marjorie, and I, we're huge
believers in the First Amendment, and we believe in free speech, and we take abuse all the time. But you see, you see why it's so hard to do what they have done, because they come forward and you subject yourself to national scrutiny and national questioning. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart how appreciative I am and how proud I am of what you've done today. You made a big difference. Before I bring on Marjorie and then Thomas will have the last word, I want to summarize 3 basic things that I heard from the survivors. First, they want to know why our government covered up for someone rich and powerful. Why is it that we have 2 Americas? People say, why do you need to release the Epstein files if Epstein is dead and Maxwell is in jail? Because we don't know who all was involved in the cover-up. Why are there rich and powerful people who didn't have justice? They want to know that. Second, many said it's important for their own closure. They don't know their own abuse. They want to understand what's in these files for themselves. And third, we heard that there are many others who obviously were involved. And they want to know, and the American people deserve to know what was there in those files. I actually think they're helping us come together as a country. I've never done a press conference with Marjorie Taylor Greene before. I've done some with Tubbs, but look, this this country is divided, it's exhausted. This is one thing that we can come together on. And I was very clear with Thomas. This is not against President Trump. I would like nothing more than a Truth Social post for him after this press conference saying just release the files. Be with Massie Kana. This is about something much deeper. It is about bringing this country together to stand for America's kids, to restore trust, and to move this country forward. So thank you to the survivors for helping us do that. Now I want to introduce Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you.
Thank you. For everyone watching at home, I think it's important to put yourself in these women's shoes. As you're questioning, why can't they just name the names? What you don't realize is they just told their stories of being raped and being abused, being victimized, being manipulated, being coerced, and basically held in a prison of captivity of sexual abuse while they were young teenagers and extremely young, vulnerable women. And in Jeffrey Epstein's home and the places they went with him, they saw the most powerful people in the world in his pictures, and they saw him with those people. Can you imagine how terrifying it would be to name names like that? These are some of the richest, most powerful people in the world that could sue these women into poverty and homelessness. Yeah, it's a scary thing to name names, but I will tell you, I'm not afraid to name names. And so if they want to give me a list, I will walk in that Capitol on the House floor and I'll say every damn name that abused these women. I can do that for them, and I'd be proud to do it. Now, another thing, this is not about politics, and this is a boiling point in American history where the American people, just like Roe just said, there's become 2 Americas. There's the America for the rich and the powerful and the elite, where they never face any struggles or problems and never experience what real America goes through. And then there's forgotten America that faces all the problems and deals with all the issues and never gets justice for being sexually assaulted and raped by a monster. It shouldn't exist anymore, and people are sick of it. So let's recognize the fact that the administration before and the one before it and the one before it and the one before it and before it never did anything about this. So this isn't one political party or the other. It's a culmination of everyone worked together to silence these women and protect Jeffrey Epstein and his cabal. And this is not just rich, powerful people. Think his drivers, his maids, his chefs, all the people, people that worked in his home, security guards. I heard one story from a young woman that was being raped by Jeffrey Epstein when he was out on work release while he was serving time in prison. and had an ankle monitor on his leg. Guess what? There was a police officer outside that door. So this list of names is quite a list of names, and it doesn't extend just in the rich, powerful circles. It extends down to the very bottom where people were paid. And again, I will say this, there's victims suffering today in similar circumstances, and they're terrified to name the names of the people that are currently abusing them. And so with these brave, courageous women fighting this fight, this is a fight for women and children and any person that is facing sexual abuse and rape and captivity and human trafficking right now. And so here's what I ask you in the press. Don't go for salacious headlines. Go for the truth and defend these women and help those of us in Congress that are crossing our political party lines for doing the right thing and trying to do it together. And thank you, Ro, and thank you, Thomas. And now I recognize Thomas Massey from Kentucky.
Well, there's three branches of government, and we're supposed to keep each other accountable. And that's what we're doing here today in the People's House. We're standing in front of the People's House with real people, not a hoax. And they've told their story. We wanted to give them a platform to speak, and they've had it. They stepped up, and they were brave. But I also today hope that they would persuade my colleagues to join this effort. But I found out something today that happened that I wasn't expecting. They persuaded me to fight even harder. I'm not going to give up. And I want to end with this call to action. First, a call to action to my colleagues who, just an hour before this press conference, were prepared. They were given a fig leaf. We'll put a resolution on the floor so that you can say that you voted to protect the survivors. Their resolution doesn't really do anything. And that's the oldest trick in the swamp. When you want to kill the momentum, when you want to kill initiative, you introduce a placebo, a different bill that does nothing, and then try to pull the wool over the eyes of the American people. That's not going to happen this time. We demand real accountability. I encourage my colleagues, please, there's over 200 Republicans who have not signed this discharge petition. We only need 2 of them to sign it, and every Democrat will sign it, and that will get us the number we need to force this vote, to pass a law, not a polite request to the DOJ to police themselves. No, we need legally binding legislation to force that to happen. And my main call to action is to the people watching these live feeds that are going through these cameras right now. Congressmen, listen to you. Light up their phones. Burn down the phone lines here in Washington, D.C. Ask them the questions that these survivors wanted you to ask them. Why won't you be for transparency? Don't accept their answer that the bill has a flaw or that the survivors don't want it. We know that's not true. They wouldn't be fighting it so hard in this town if it wasn't the real bill. So with that, please, call your congressman. Tell him or her to get on this bill and to stand up for these survivors. Thank you, and God bless. That's Ian.
Thank you guys very much. This is unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Congressman Massey. Congressman Massey.
Yeah.
Are there any Republicans that you know about who are on this, and why are Republicans so apprehensive?
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Uh, we are staying here live. I'm going to be re-enabling my stream, making sure everything is visible again. I muted myself and disappeared myself. So please stick with me, and hopefully y'all can hear me. Just getting our sources back. Sorry for any delays here, y'all. We are continuing to broadcast after the historic event today. I'm just working on getting my screen back on. Uh, Bear with me as I get through some technical difficulties. Turn some music back on. For now, if you can hear me while we're listening, this is a piece that I composed while I was in college, and is a string quartet. Just give me another moment. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. We are back on screen, and it's been a pretty historic day, if we could say the least. And I'm hoping to be joined at some point by some of our other fantastic contributors on Banner and Backbone, streaming through both Sick of This Shit with Nick, and Banner and Backbone. Please join on either one of those platforms. And I'll be pulling in some contributors as we speak. We have Jacob Summers hanging out with us on audio right now, but we'll be seeing about pulling him in for video at some point. We're going to be getting Lawrence Winterman on here in just a moment to be getting his commentary. We may also be trying to pull in Dana Dubois for her commentary. Ellie Leonard, obviously one of our main contributors, is always welcome, as well as Walter Ryan, Shane Urich, if any of the other contributors are on, Melissa Corrigan, anyone available. We can have 10 of our contributors on at one time. So we're going to be hanging out right now here, and possibly switching over to different live at some point. Ellie and I have both been invited at some point to go over and speak with Dean Blundell and Zev Shalev, one or both, and however it may be. But it's been an incredible day so far, to say the least. I don't really have much to say in terms of adding to their stories. Like, it's on us now. Like, if you haven't taken the opportunity, maybe pause this and come back in a couple minutes and go call your congressman, and um, your contributor, um, or your legislators. Sorry, go call your congressman, your representative, and have them sign on. If you're in a red state, call your congressman and senator. And oh, I've got Lawrence hiding in the background. I didn't even see him. And call your representative, and have them sign on. Like, wow, good morning, Lawrence, or good afternoon.
Yeah.
To you.
Good
How are you?
afternoon. Man, I'm blown away. What about you?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
there's
like we just saw a
really
nuclear
not much to
bomb.
say other than wow.
Yeah, we just saw a
Um,
nuclear bomb go off on the steps of the United States Capitol.
yeah, we did. And I don't think I don't think we're I don't think we're quite ready yet to know what how the um the results of that are going to be. I think we're going to find out soon. Um, with our, like, a call to action for everybody is, again, please call your representative and call your legislator. Lawrence and I can easily pause our videos for a moment and do that ourselves. So you will see us do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think everybody should. I honestly, I'm going to make a bet right now that by the end of the day, there will be 2 more Republican signatures on the discharge petition, and that it will make it to the floor. Like,
yeah.
I never thought I would cheer Marjorie Taylor Greene in a speech, and she spoke twice, and I thought she was pitch perfect, and
Was.
I was proud of that person, Marjorie Taylor Greene, in what she said and what she was doing. And if she can do it, if Nancy Mace can do it, they said that Nancy Mace has joined the discharge petition, which I think was pretty obvious yesterday, after she left the closed door hearings where she was clearly moved and in tears.
Yeah.
I think there are at least 2 other Republicans who are sane enough to hear what was said on the steps of the Capitol today and sign the discharge petition, because my God.
Yeah. And what I'm doing right now is I'm adding the Capitol switchboard number, and I'm just going to put it on there.
Nice.
So please, everyone, call the Capitol switchboard, call and speak to your representatives, and give them a very just basic and simple and but heartfelt reminder that it's their duty as congressional leaders to sign this discharge petition and release the Epstein files and ensure that they're fully unredacted, aside from personal identifying information for the victims,
Right.
so that truth can come to light. Because that's where we're at. It's right now, our representatives have the choice to hide the Epstein files and hide the truth, or join in the truth. This is not about politics. This is not about red versus blue. This is not any of it. This is every single one of us as Americans needing to come together and do our civic duty at least once. Because if you don't call, you're signaling to those women, you're signaling to all other women that you don't believe them.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been very open about the fact that I was sexually molested. I was assaulted when I was 8 by a creepy old pedophile in a shopping mall. And that one experience really wrecked me and affected, my whole life.
Yeah.
And these women are talking about systematic, repeated rape and abuse, and clearly every single one of them has, it has impacted their lives profoundly. And I think they all spoke very eloquently about that today. I don't see how you can be a human and not be moved by what we heard today, and want the truth to come out. There was one of the women said very clearly, there are people in this government who know more about her abuse and more about her past than she does, because she's suffering, PTSD, trauma-related amnesia, which is a real thing. And
ask any veteran.
Right. Ask any veteran, ask any other survivor of abuse. It is a real thing. And it's horrifying that there are files that contain information about her own life that she doesn't know. And so, just for fairness, just for plain fairness, and standing up for what's right for these women. And as they pointed out, like Virginia Giuffre and all the other women for whom the damage was too much, right? And who took their own lives, or, fell into, patterns of behavior that led them essentially to die, to kill themselves, that we have to do the right thing for these victims and to make sure that something like this can never happen again. It's vulgar and disgusting that it's been covered up for this long.
Yeah, and I think that's really the end of it. Is it's vulgar and it's disgusting, and it's been covered up for decades at this point. Like, there's no reason that we should be at this point in history right now where we are even having to discuss this. Like, we shouldn't even have to be here, but we are. We're still here. We're here right now because people refuse to believe women. People refuse, not only women, people refuse to believe survivors of any abuse. And they refuse to believe. I don't know why. I can't understand why they refuse to believe it, because I fucking believe. Like, if you don't believe after today, if you're still someone who's sitting there going, it's a hoax, it's fake, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you listen to this today and go, that was fake, or this was a hoax, or they're not real, or their stories aren't real, like, get the fuck out of my life. Like,
Right.
I don't want you in my life.
Yeah, no, seriously. This is definitely I don't even want to know you if you are listening to this information and choosing to willfully believe the opposite, then fuck that. You're just not even a person operating within good faith about anything.
Yeah. And like, I'm glad that Marjorie Taylor Greene was there. I'm glad that Ro Khanna was there. I'm glad that Thomas Massey was there. Like, I'm glad that 3 congressional members were brave enough to stand up there, and 2 of them were women. Or sorry, 2 of them were Republican, 1 was a woman.
Right.
And that takes a lot. Like, it takes a lot for All of this to come together and for Marjorie Taylor Greene to stand side by side with Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey and these victims and survivors is an important and powerful message, because it's not about party affiliation. It's not about who voted for who or what. It's about the truth. It's about the stories that these women now have had to relive.
Right.
And not stories to them, the lives that these women have had to relive and these victims have had to relive over and over and over and over and over, because we fucking refuse to believe them. It's horse shit. Like, fuck. Like, we don't have to put them through that. We don't have to keep putting them through that. We can just believe them. And the way to do that right now is, we've got the link up, or the phone number up, is call your congressional member on the Capitol switchboard and go, hey, ooh, we got Ellie Leonard joining us.
Oh,
welcome, Ellie.
Hey, guys.
If you want to turn your phone sideways,
I do.
and
I do
go,
wanna do that.
there we go. Now we got full screen, Ellie.
There we go. Sorry, techie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ellie. I just, before we get to having you speak through as much as you want on this, is call your representative in Congress if you live in the United States. I'm going to go off camera and mute myself, and I'm going to go call my representative and make sure that he knows that I would like him to be signing this discharge petition. My representative is Representative Steve Womack out of Arkansas. He's a Republican. I hope he joins in too, because the truth is important and these voices matter. And it doesn't matter who's on the list in terms of perpetrators. We need to stop protecting perpetrators, and we need to start protecting victims.
Yeah.
So please call your Capitol switchboard, call the switchboard, call your rep, tell them nicely that you would like them to sign this petition. But tell them with heartfelt. Welcome, Ellie.
Hi.
So glad to have you. Before
Yeah.
I jump off for a second, so glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So,
And take
Ellie,
it.
I felt like today was a nuclear bomb going off on the steps of the Capitol. What do you think?
Oh, I think a lot of things. I was taking a lot of notes as we were going, and like right before they came on, I was listening to more of the Maxwell interviews. So I'm trying to be hopeful about it. It's very hard for me to trust Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's very hard for me to think that she will absolutely follow through on it. The other, Lauren Boebert wasn't there, but she is, supposedly on the side of bringing out these files. I don't know. I know what I want. I hope people follow through. I hope people are scared. I know there was a lot of intentional distraction today. Like if you looked on Truth Social, obviously there's no discussion. They were talking about releasing the hostages, which is great, but that was being used. That cause was being used. Hi, Dana.
Hey, Dana.
Hi, guys.
So Ellie's telling us kind of what she thinks of what we just saw.
I cannot wait to hear your feedback, because I'm just walking around like I'm stammering kind of by what we just saw. I'm going to move you to the screen so I'm not looking off to the side. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful, right? I'm trying to be hopeful. Having dug into this stuff for not so long in my life, but as long as it's been going on, this should very much have stopped in 2008. Like it should have been completely over. The evidence was there. They had 44 minor victims, again, who none of them were contacted when he got his non-disclosure agreement. or not non-disclosure, what I'm saying, non-prosecution agreement.
Mm-hmm.
That case like is a crime on its own. The representation of that case is its own criminal case. The people who prosecuted that case, you know, on the side of justice, quote unquote, should be prosecuted for their position in that case. There's so much, if all this was released, if we knew just everything that was behind this whole case, there's so much corruption on so many levels of like the judiciary and politics and money, along with this sex ring. Like there's so many different things that have just fingers out into these different kind of political communities and you know, locally in Palm Beach, but then like in New York City and then like in Washington DC, there's just so many, just like, it's like rebar. It's just like stuck into all these different communities of power. I don't blame the women for not wanting to say who their abusers were. Like,
For sure.
they would be crushed. If you think about this entire case happened in 2008 after they came forward and nobody told them that he was going to walk free. Like, no one told them. That's the level of protection that they have. Like, they're like you and I. They don't
Literally
have
nothing.
lawyers, right? They don't have money. They don't have prestige. And then on top of that, they're dealing with trauma. So it's like, I'm hopeful that this is something because this felt bigger. Hi, Nick. It felt bigger and it felt like more. But I mean, that was to me who wanted to watch and who has intent behind why I'm watching and who wants things to change. But you go over to Fox News didn't stream any of it, right? And so
I was wondering that they didn't stream any of it.
No, nothing.
MSNBC streamed the whole
And they
thing.
were just preaching to the choir, right? Are we just preaching to the choir? The only people who are seeing this, the people who wanted to see it anyway. And like the flyover was planned. Like we knew about the flyover days before, and I question what was scheduled first. Was it this press conference scheduled first, or was the flyover for the leaders scheduled first, right? And that would be an
Was that the plane that was interrupting? That was really loud.
That was a military flyover. That was on purpose, and
That
it was
was
supposed.
I said that to my daughter. I was like, "Oh, I bet Trump sent those planes to drown everybody out." I'm like, "I'm just kidding."
Right.
But
No,
for
I knew
real?
about those a couple of days ago. I knew they were going to do those, and supposedly it's because he was meeting with these world leaders, and that's what Fox was obviously broadcasting, and so it was supposed to be like a big welcome for them, and it's like, no, that's not why you did that. So it's just, and then the stuff that came out yesterday, was it yesterday? Like the 33,000 files. I mean, they're very interesting. I'm going through them. I have questions about a lot of them, but then at the same time, it's stuff we already had, right? And so it's like, it's this constant, we hope you're dumb enough to know that we're just handing you something you already have, and then that will hold us off a little bit longer, and you won't complain, and you will be okay for a little while longer. So I hope today is something. I took a lot of notes. There were a lot of names. There still wasn't the name of the person they named in the Maxwell transcripts that they weren't supposed to name. That person was not there today. I still have a lot of questions about that, and I'm trying to figure out the ramifications of that. But ultimately, like the ramifications are on the victims. It's not on any of the abusers. It's not on any of the people in power. It's not on Todd Blanche. It's not on Ghislaine Maxwell. Like they literally, if they want anything to happen, or if they want to be protected, or if they were wronged again, like legally, it's all on them, and that will continue to happen. And that's my take.
That sucks. Like we need to change that. Like that needs to not be the way that our legal system works. Like I get innocent until proven guilty, and I'm not against that in any way. But innocent until proven guilty doesn't mean not bad during the until proven guilty part. Like we should be protecting victims as much as possible.
And take that a
and
step
protecting
further.
those.
Right?
Like
Believable until proven unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem we're running into is we're making them prove that this happened to them instead of believing them first until we can prove that it didn't happen. We're taking the innocence thing and we're putting it on the people who are accused rather than the people who were abused. And we don't require that of them.
No, and like we need to force the laws to be changed. Like we can do that. We hold the power as people to do that. And I think at some point soon we have to. Like that has part of the accountability agenda that Ken Harbaugh talked about yesterday has to be accountability for acts perpetrated like this. Like these people can't get away by doing this. Like they can't keep getting away doing this, or victims aren't actually going to get any like justice. Like the whole point of the justice system is justice and not protecting those who are potentially perpetrating crimes. It's about protecting victims and protecting others so that crimes don't happen again. That's what I was learned the justice system was about. Like,
yeah. My thought, I hear everything that you are saying, Ellie, and I know you have been so immersed in this. Like, I find reading your work is educating me every day. But here's what I saw today that is giving me hope. That I'm still like, did I just witness that? Really? As you can see, my handle here is brand new Marjorie Taylor Greene fan. What I saw was a huge schism that has really not happened under Trump's leadership in the Republican Party. The fact that this was led by two prominent Republicans, one of them Marjorie Taylor Greene, who'd already been throwing signals, that she was differentiating from Trump. But that final call to action, and that it was coming from like a white man from Kentucky saying, I know all the Democrats will vote for this. I only need two of you, and it's time, and I'm not going away. That kind of stand, after elevating and believing all of these women, like my jaw keeps falling like 3 stories down. It's so far on the ground. I've never seen anything like that happen. And that has to be, to me, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not suddenly, some like liberal hero, some women's rights champion. She sees that this is a moment where it's more powerful to create her own brand away from Trump than it is to align with him. And Massey, right? He sees this as well, clearly, or they wouldn't be doing it. These are calculated Republican politicians. It's not like I'm like, wow, it's the goodness of their hearts and they just want to see justice. There's something in it for them. And I'm really hoping this is not a dead end and they get shut down. It has to be signaling that there's momentum in the right direction. I mean, it gave me chills to hear her say, like, you all are afraid to bring up the names. Give me the names and consequences be damned. I will read them. Like,
Well,
that was so powerful.
Virginia,
that was a boss
I
move.
keep saying this, you guys. Marjorie Taylor Greene gave like speeches of a lifetime today. Fuck.
I know, and I don't know what to do.
I'm so hesitant. I'm like,
but acknowledge that she did it.
Right.
At the meta story there is she sees this as a moment to take down the power infrastructure that is, which is Trump, and to emerge on top. Right? I mean, that's what this is signaling to me, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a political gain to be made.
Yeah.
Lawrence, Lawrence and I were chatting about this. Like, I called him the second it was done because I was in my car. You had some really good things to say too, Lawrence.
Well, I mean, there is gamesmanship going on here, right? Like all of the Congress folks, Ro Khanna, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they all see this as a thing that they can use to elevate their own profiles, for sure. They also happen to be doing something that is standing with the survivors of sexual abuse, right? And centering the voices of these victims and calling for the release of the files, knowing full well that it will rock the foundations of American democracy, right? Like if the full files are released, I think we all strongly suspect that people in both parties who are very powerful are going to get named and named and shamed and hopefully prosecuted as pedophiles, as molesters, as perpetrators of a crime. And I think that it is important in that it is signaling that there is a crack inside the Republican Party that we should be going all in on to help exploit, right? Like, do I want to seriously root for Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie? No. But do I want this split to bring down the Trump administration? Absolutely. And
yeah,
I also want all of the women to get justice, So I feel like there's an obvious good, and then there's an implicit good.
Right.
It's one of those things where two things can be true at once.
Right.
Yeah. The Trump derangement syndrome that people think we're just deranged. I'm like, we're not. Just literally every single fucking thing that's happened under his regime has been awful. I think it's important as, the liberal Democrats or liberal leaning folks that we are, at least, like, to acknowledge when someone on the other side is doing something amazing. They're doing something amazing right now. Like, fuck yeah, that took a lot of courage. Never let it be said that we're a monolith, right? Like, they want to do something great. I'm all here for it. Do I look like I have a second head? I just realized I'm like totally aligned.
Yoshi, you're kind of like you're a Dr. Seuss character right now for sure.
Trying to get that glare out of the back of mine too.
I think so. I have a lot of thoughts about this, like on a deeper level.
Yeah.
So what's happening and what we're trying to out right now and what we're trying to like highlight right now is something that's been around for centuries, right? Like this idea of a child bride, this idea, it's very gender focused. And I think in powerful circles, they still struggle to see how it's wrong to have very young, model-esque girls in Hollywood or in politics or in money, like on Wall Street. I don't think a lot of the most powerful people still think that was wrong or still think what Jeffrey Epstein did was wrong.
Right.
They just know that societally it's wrong and you can get in trouble for it. But I don't think on a moral level they're really concerned with it. And I think that's a really big wall in this fight to have justice for these women. I question if there are boys and men who are also abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I question if and when they would ever come forward, because I've heard rumors of that, how much of a difference that would make for the Republican Party to be like, you're cut, you're out, we're releasing the files. Because when you deal with a lot of these people in the Republican Party, they're fine with young brides per se, but they would not be fine with the gay thing, right? That would be very, very hard for them. And that would be their breaking point, which is sad on one level that that's what it takes in order to pay attention to any kind of abuse. But like, I just question what is their line? I don't think they have a problem with it at this point, especially not if they were involved, right? They probably can justify everything in their own heads. But I think there's a lot more people who could have a lot more impact on this story. I mean, obviously there's thousands people, right? So I don't know. I hope that this matters to the people who say that it matters, right? I hope that they're doing more than they're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
I totally
too,
get
right?
your sort of well-justified lack of optimism here, Ellie. And also like trying to kind of put on my, normal person hat, not my, political, tuned in person hat. I think what happened today was really impactful. Like, I think your average American is going to see the clips of what happened today and they're going to be like, oh, goddamn, this is really important. Like, maybe I should pick up my phone and call my congressperson right now. We've got a couple of people in the chat saying that they, maybe don't usually pick up the phone to call, but they did, right? And so I think there are potentially a lot of people who are going to do that. I moved to Indiana a year ago. I live in a blood red Republican state. literally, have never tried to call the representative here because he's a Republican. I'm going to call him today. In fact, Nick, kick me out for a minute, or I'll kick myself out.
Don't even have to. I'll just
I'm going to go call him right now. Marvin
screen.
Stutzman is my
Hey,
Congress.
Lawrence, join the restream on your laptop, and then we can hear you call live.
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
Lawrence, you should be able to just mute yourself and disable your camera, and that should be able to put you off screen for now. And if it doesn't, I'll just hide you for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I need to go full screen to see my full. Yeah, Nick, I don't seem to have the controls that I thought I would have.
Then.
Oh wait, no, there. Sorry.
No, you're all right. And what I'll do is when I see Lawrence's little picture show back up that he's on with us, I'll pull him back into the video. But wow, yeah, I called my representative. Like I said, mine is Steve Womack. And it's super important to call.
Maybe I should call yours. I'm in Washington State, so it's sort of like Patty Murray and Marie Cowell. They're already like I could call them, but they, they're already on the right.
Cory Booker.
What's that?
Yeah.
Got Cory Booker, so we're good.
Oh, you're so good. Yeah. You're so
That's
good.
Unfair. That's unfair.
Sorry.
You both have.
I know. But we'll still call them. They still have voices heard.
Congratulate him. Didn't he just get engaged? You can just.
Yeah. my friend's like, wait, where did Rosario Dawson go?
I thought the same thing. I'm like, who is that?
Like, wait, hold on. Oh well.
I had two thoughts. Sorry
to interrupt you. I was gonna say I had two thoughts of things that popped up for me today. First, Annie Farmer's a powerhouse. I love her, and I've always loved her. And she was one of the first things that kind of drew me into this story. Was she and her sister? I didn't realize they had a younger sister who was like not involved, but like pictures of her were taken by Jeffrey Epstein and are still in his estate's possession. So I don't know how young she would have been. But Annie Farmer brought up Les Wexner, which I don't think a lot of just your average people know who Les Wexner is, but he's like the financial basis for what made Epstein. And he's still hanging around. Like, he's hanging around, and he has a very innocent persona where people that know him personally are like, oh, he's so generous, he's so kind, he's so innocent. And I'm like, if he's innocent, then he's stupid, right?
Right. It's so crazy that at the core of this all, it's just a dude who had a thing for 14-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Right.
14-year-old girls. Yeah. Every one of them said they were 14 when it started. Just about every one of them. And I was like, yeah.
That was the one thing. And then the second thing was just how averse to talking about Alan Dershowitz people are. Like, what does he have on everyone? Like, how powerful?
How powerful is he?
He's got his fingers everywhere. Like, every major trial that I've worked on, at least for my work, has somehow involved him somewhere in it. So I'm just like, what's his deal? So anyway, I thought that was very interesting that everybody's like, no, don't talk about that guy. Nope, don't bring him up. So he must have some sort of like major lawsuit over top of everything that's just like, I will drop this.
I wonder if he has a plea deal underneath.
I don't know.
Like a non-prosecution deal underneath that he has to like, because there's got to be something keeping the discussion about him so quiet. As we talk, we're welcoming back. We're welcoming in Walter Ryan, a good friend of the show and new contributor to Banner and Backbone. And we're pulling on Lawrence. We're going to try and get this to cover the whole screen. Ooh, that's better than having the... Walter, if you turn your camera sideways for us and go pan.
There we go.
I physically turn my camera like this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what you want.
It'll flip.
Oh, God.
It'll auto-rotate. It'll auto-rotate.
I'll just do this.
Yeah,
how's that?
Let's
go back.
It'll
It'll
auto-rotate on you.
Unless you have that turned off.
Okay.
There we go. Make Walter
He's got it turned off.
Oh, he's got auto rotate turned off.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Are you on an iPhone?
Okay, I'll just leave it alone.
Because you
We're
could
gonna
just...
get
No,
everyone
I don't do
dizzy
those.
and confused today.
All right.
Yeah, let's just stop doing that. I'll just leave it like that. I just want to say hi real quick because I saw you and I thought this was super cool. So, and I hadn't seen Ellie before, so
Hi, it's nice to
I
meet
wanted to say
you.
hi personally to Ellie.
Yeah, it's nice to
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for
I'll
streaming
just lean
that,
back
Nick.
there.
Because as you may have heard, I know you were listening in on the Daily Whatever this morning as you were getting your properties ramped up. Lawrence and I made a very last minute call to shorten to half an hour and to not do our theme, which was going to be us talking about our writing, because that just felt so tone deaf on the cusp of this major historic release. So I was like, where can I stream this? I don't have live TV. And I was trying all these different sources, and Banner and Backbone work great. So thank you.
Yeah,
I think I'm feeding back through somebody's mic. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's you, Dana. When you talk, you're clipping for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone show up. It's weird. Now we don't hear it. Oh, it could have been Walter's bouncing a little.
Hello?
Because we're now. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's me. I'm feeding back.
It's me. I'm the problem. It's
I was
me.
gonna say, who's gonna sing?
Yeah, all of us.
Someone had to do it. I mean,
I'm always happy
he
to
is
help you.
part of the problem. He could release the files. Like,
Well, we'll see.
release the files, dude. It's not that hard. Like, at this point, too, like if you don't release the files, you are actively
complicit
in the cover-up of a child sex trafficking and child rape and abuse scandal. Like,
Yeah.
you are actively complicit if you do not release the files. If you are a member of Congress and you vote no, I am now considering you actively complicit in covering up the files. Like, you
Yeah.
are fully actively complicit.
1,000%.
No ifs and or buts. Like, fuck you people.
Yeah, I just said that. So I just called my congressperson, Marlon Stutzman of the Indiana 3rd Congressional District, and I
Thank you, Lawrence.
said, like, hey, I've never called you before. I need you to go put your name on that discharge petition and get this on the floor, and then I need you to vote for it. And if you don't, I will see that you are not the right representative for the Indiana 3rd Congressional District, and I will work against you because you will be complicit in covering up a child sex trafficking ring, and that is disgusting. And no one who covers up a child sex trafficking ring should hold any office in the U.S. government. So, unfortunately, it was just voicemail, right? Like, they must all be freaking out over there because it just went directly to voicemail. But I hope they listen to that message, and I hope that, because I mean it. If you're covering this up, like Nick just said, you're fucking complicit at this point.
The sad thing for me was my congressperson had a staffer actually answer, which means it's either a good sign that Steve Womack had a staffer answer, or it's a really bad sign that not enough people in Arkansas, especially in my district, are calling him. And if you're in Arkansas, I know some of my listeners are, some of my supporters are, because I'm in Arkansas. Love for more of y'all to start coming out of the woodwork. We need more of us. We need to flood the zone today. Like, it needs to be flooded. We need to have as much noise going towards these folks as possible in a good way, because it's important. Because if they hear from us, they either respond or we vote them out. Like, and then mass protests. Like, if nothing happens, like, at this point, there has to be a change in the public attitude, and things have to, like, there has to be a strike. I can't strike because I'm a reporter who doesn't get paid by people, so I'll still be doing it. But everybody else who has jobs, y'all should figure out how to strike.
I start tomorrow, so I can go on strike.
And this is a great opportunity too to talk to people in your community and tell them to make the calls. I think that, I mean, these are great. These streams are great, and everything. All the work we're doing is important. But the most important thing is that person-to-person connection, that word of mouth, And there's a lot of people in our community that you see all the time that are not going to hear a word about what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, the media is controlled. It's through these independent journalists that any truth is even shared at all, the way things are. So yeah, if we can just get out and encourage people to make those calls, that'll make a big
I
impact.
just sent a text to my family, I'm not sure.
Yes.
We're politically active, but I think they've given up on Marlon Stutzman a long time ago. So I just was like, here's his phone number. I just did
Give
it.
him a call. You know they will too.
Yeah.
Jane's gonna give
The
him a talking to.
conversations might be more important.
What? Yeah, Walter, with my family, the conversations, we're all violently on the same side, right? Like we argue about the details, not the overarching issue, because we're all liberals screaming into a void of redness.
I'm happy.
I'm gonna hang out at your house.
I'm happy to hear that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Good.
I'm just happy that I've been waiting for years and years for there to be like a Republican. Sorry, you guys, I may have to drop some of my audio, but a Republican movement that's different from Trump. Like, we need a sensible conservative side in politics.
Yeah, we can't have a two-party system
That's a
when one of the
Democrat.
parties is completely insane. Like we
Yeah.
need an actual fact-based, rules-based Republican Party. They may be conservative and we may hate everything they want to do, but at least not crazy people who, are actively covering up a child sex ring.
Yeah, and what's wrong with conservative?
Yes.
Like, conservative means conserving, like conserving a system or conserving values or conserving truth or conserving something. Like, you have to want to protect and defend something to want to conserve it. Like, these folks aren't conserving a constitutional system. They're trying to destroy our our stuff. And it's so nice to see, at least for now, a group of Republicans who are beginning to at least break the spell of Trump, which is the first step. Like, if we can break Trump from being the main figure, if they no longer have a messiah, then the movement begins to break. They the tech bros don't like the Christo-fascists. They work with each other for convenience, for power. And having Marjorie Taylor Greene, who may be part of one of those groups and for convenience of power, but what she said today was really, really powerful, and it needs to be acknowledged that she said something really powerful. And I was moved by what she said. And in this moment, I believe her. I believe the truth that she was saying. I believe that she would be willing to go stand on the floor of Congress and read every single name if she was provided a list of names.
Yeah.
I believe her. As should everyone else, because that's what we're here to do, right? Isn't it? We're here to believe. So I'm going to give Marjorie Taylor Greene the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to believe her because she's doing what's right, and she's doing what's right really, really vocally and really, really strongly, using her privilege to do it. So let's encourage her to keep doing that. Don't encourage her on anything else. Encourage her just on that.
I've got to say, the Republicans must be super exhausted. You know what I mean? Especially people in the cabinet, they have to be so tired because they're fighting for this thing that I think a long time ago didn't really necessarily represent any of them. Everybody remembers your Republican fiscal grandparents. That was just, quiet, flat tax time. And none of this, now we have pictures of Trump that he's posting himself on Truth Social that show him holding a Q+ in his hand and looking like the next Messiah or whatever. It's got to be so exhausting. And fearful for them of when do I say when and what does that look like for me? And will my political career be over? Will I be will I go to jail? Well, how far have I gone that will I go to jail, or will my family be in danger? There's the point of no return, and I don't know that any of them have it, but it's just the thing. So we were talking about Nancy Mace coming down the hall yesterday crying, and it's like, she's a horrible person who makes horrible decisions, but there's gonna be the thing for her that's like the breaking point, and for her that is she relates to what is being said, and she can't deny that, right? That's a heart level thing, that's a trauma level thing for her. So she can stand up for all these horrible things about not letting anybody use the bathroom,
alligator Alcatraz.
right, and it's like, I can't agree with you because you're a horrible person, but at the same time you're still a human, and humans have breaking points, and this could be her breaking point because she walked out of there having a panic attack. So
and apparently was, because she signed on to the discharge petition, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, no, they announced it
Yeah, that's
at
what I
the press
heard.
conference. He said that Nancy Mace
Yeah, it was
had
all
joined them on
women
the
in
discharge.
Massey. I mean, that says a lot.
They need one. They need one more. Then
they still need 2 more. It's including Nancy Mace that they need 2 more.
It's incredible that they still need any more. Like, it says so,
that's the point.
much.
Remember when they were going like?
And that's an important point to emphasize. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say we have to make sure everybody underscores. All the Democrats are on board. I'm getting feedback now too, and they're scrounging for the Republicans. So
I just find
got to give credit where credit's due to the
I just
Democrats.
find it ironic because this was literally the whole platform that they campaigned on was like ending pedophilia.
Yes.
And it was Disney, and it was Tom Hanks, and it was, specific people that, Pizzagate. It was all these things that was their actual platform, and now they have something that literally has an FBI file that's proven that people have gone to prison for, and they can't follow through. And I don't understand what hold someone has over you to make you completely say, I can't do it for this, but this is my platform that I stand on. I don't get it. I don't know. That's my thought.
Thank you. I don't get it either.
Yeah, it's there at this point. Again, if your congressional member does not sign on to this discharge petition and vote yes to have the files released, you should call them and before and after and remind them that they are complicit in hiding child sex trafficking and child abuse and child molestation and child rape and every single thing that we have ever said we all find disgusting. If they are willing to cover that up, you and everyone in your family or whatever, you will hold them responsible and complicit, and you will do everything you can to get them out of office. They need to be afraid of us again as voters, or else they're never going to stop, or else they're never going to release the files. Capital switchboard number is floating on the bottom for a reason. Call your representative, tell them to sign the discharge petition and vote yes to then release the files.
Yes, please.
Especially if they're Republican.
I'm gonna hop off. I have to go.
I need to get going.
We're all okay. I'll stay on for a minute longer if you both need to hop off, because unless you and Lawrence just want to have like a quiet time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Ellie.
Bye, you
Hi,
guys.
Walter.
We'll see you again. I'll be online unless I have to hop off too. So we'll see y'all again. And we'll pull
So I'm
out
just
of this Zoom view.
checking headlines to see like if there's any breaking news after the press conference. So this is interesting. It looks like so she's not my representative, but Indiana Representative Victoria Sparks, who is a Republican, apparently was there and listened to the entire thing. She wouldn't commit to backing the effort, but she said she wanted to listen because the women who shared their stories of abuse, quote, deserve justice, but that she is still weighing, quote, what is the best approach? So it sounds to me like that's a person who is potentially swayable. I'm going to call her off, even though she's not my representative, and add my voice. I think that
You said Victoria Sparks.
Sparks, Spartz.
Oh, with a Z. That's so like bad marketing. Someone already had the URL with an S.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's going to be the women, you guys. It's always the women.
Right.
It's the
Honestly, I think
Murkowskis,
exactly.
the
We should be targeting the Republican women.
Yeah.
and calling those folks, because they are probably going to be the most open to actually standing up for other women on this.
Yeah, because if it wasn't them, it was one of their best friends in college who had something similar happen, right?
Right.
Yeah. And Rachel, yes, Victoria Spartz is Ukrainian American, who
Oh,
is
Republican?
interesting on Ukraine. I won't go into that because that's not what we're about today. But if you're in Victoria Spartz's district specifically, so if you're in Indiana, Congressional District number 5, please call her. Please call. Please leave her a message. And then here's the thing. If you're in a male represented district, if your representative is a male and Republican, call, leave message, do the thing. Like, yeah, just call them, because the more men who sign on to this, the more permission structure it then gives. Like Ellie was saying, like, I think it was Ellie was saying, or Dana, one of you two was saying, there are male victims who haven't come out, I think, or
That was
Lauren, I
Ellie.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Ellie said it. There may be male victims that come out. Like, it's so important that their voices be given a platform too, because we need everyone to understand that this isn't a Republican Party or problem. This isn't a Democratic problem. This is not a men problem just abusing girls. This is abuse of girls and boys. And that has to be despicable to everyone across the board. Like, if you're not like grossed out just in any way, shape, or form by your politician being willing to be complicit in covering up pedophilia, I don't know what to say anymore. Like, don't be part of a family with people that are normal. Like, go live in the woods somewhere by yourself. The rest of us will be better off.
Yeah.
Yeah. With you and hopeful. I mean, can you even fathom all the conversations that are happening right now? These frantic, like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I'm sure that Congress must be at like an anthill of activity right now, right? Like, all of these representatives who are freaking out because, again, I think this was a nuclear bomb on the steps of the Capitol. Like, I don't see how it was powerful enough that I don't see how any representative could carry on and be like, oh, I didn't know about it, or I didn't hear about it, or I'm not paying attention, right? Like,
yeah,
I was napping. I didn't bother.
if somebody goes, I didn't pay attention, you go, okay, here's the fucking replay. It's your job to pay attention. Now listen. Like, it's their job to listen to Americans speak,
right,
and do this. Like, do your damn job.
Maybe I'm giving way too much credit. I am, because they would have come out if they already had the votes. Now I've got Hamilton in my head. You're gonna need congressional approval and you don't have the votes. I'm hoping behind the scenes that they've got a couple aces in their pockets that they already know that they've got the two. You know what I mean? Like, they're pretty powerful people.
Yeah.
They already have a bipartisan bill that's, two of the three people who were talking today were Republican. One of them was a white dude from Kentucky. Surely one of his besties, if it goes well, has people who are like, all right, if the momentum's moving, if you can show to me that this moves hearts and minds, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then they're going to roll it out strategically. Please say that their comms team did that.
I really hope.
Really,
Side note, Dana,
yeah.
And this is not the topic of what we're talking about, but this guy right here has never seen Hamilton.
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen. You've got to just get a Disney Plus membership and watch. Like,
nope. I refuse to pay Disney any more money. If someone wants to pirate, like, I'm not actively suggesting pirating or anything like that, because that is a crime and crimes are punishable and we should be upholding the law.
Right.
However,
I hear you.
If I accidentally receive a copy of Hamilton sometime. I
It's so
I will
good, Nick.
report it after I watch it to ensure its validity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is astonishingly good. And
No,
I
I know. I've
can't
heard.
believe you haven't seen it. I remember, Lawrence, when you first finally saw it, because you were kind of late to it. I was early to it because I have kids who are obsessed with it, you know. So I knew all the music before I ever saw the play, and was just, I mean, the whole play is told in song, so you kind of know the whole plot if you've listened to the soundtrack. But we went to see it when it toured through Seattle at great expense, but worth every penny. I mean, it was so good. And it's like, how often do you get to witness like
If
once
you
in a
love
lifetime
politics
art in
and
your
American
lifetime?
history, regardless of how you feel about hip hop or Lin-Manuel Miranda, it is a must-view
Yeah.
masterpiece
It
of
was.
human
It's more
creativity.
Lin-Manuel than anything else. It's not the hip hop. It's not any
You're
of
not a
the other.
fan?
I'm not a fan of him. He's
Really?
so he's so pretentious. Like, don't come at me, dude. Like, I know you're worth a lot of money and way bigger than I am. Please don't come at me, dude. Like, but I think
Wait,
you're a
you think Lynn is
pretentious
going to come after
prick.
you? Lynn doesn't care what we have to
I'm
say. I
getting
don't
a phone call from Lin-Manuel Miranda right
I
now.
mean,
my
I have
texts are
written
blowing
music
up.
before. I have written music before, and I did one day want to be a professional composer, but
He just
This
texted
that
me
is,
and said,
dream
"No
has
chance
set
now,
sail.
bro."
it's kind of
It's too late now.
unfuckable. It's just so good though. Like it's
Yeah.
masterful storytelling. It's wonderful. So you should get over this hurdle that you're facing and just watch it is my suggestion.
Just find the time to
Because
watch
usually
it.
when someone says you're gonna need congressional approval and you don't have the votes, you got to know what that means.
Right.
It's like
You see, I
such a
know
blunder.
some of
Sometimes it
it.
makes me wonder why I even bring the thunder. I love Debbie Diggs too. Oh my God, sorry, nerding out. But
You want to be in
at
the
any
room where
rate,
it happens.
I right now I would like to be in the rooms where it is happening, because you know that these rooms are all over the country right now.
I'd love to be a little Russian bug on the wall right now,
Russian bug.
sitting in the White House, going, listening to Donnie just shit himself
Right.
after all of
Absolute
that.
meltdown. I thought it was
Am I in?
very clever
Yeah.
and strategic, kind of bringing it back to the press conference.
Yeah.
That several of the people named Trump, but to address him directly and say, please, you're powerful. Please put your weight behind this bill. Right. I thought that was very smartly done.
I think it's really effective to call to his ego.
Right.
To be totally honest, like, he's an ego-driven animal.
Yep.
Like, that's all he thrives on. And they know that. And they weren't calling him out as part of it. Like, they even purposely and intentionally for them. I mean, yeah, there was a little bit, but they weren't calling him out like so much to say he was fully involved. It was just, hey, you have power. You're the dude who can do
They're
it.
a big,
Help
strong
us.
man.
Help us, please. Be the big, strong savior. And
Yes.
I know they were playing that a little bit too. And I hate that they
Smart.
have, like, it's smart, and I hate that they have to do that. Like,
Also,
what
can I be an asshole? Oh, sorry, you weren't quite done yet.
what underlying bigotry? Like, it sucks.
Yeah, they're playing to his ego, and that's smart. I also think, God forgive me for saying this, because I'm going to sound a little bit like an asshole, but I can't remember her name now. The woman who spoke first, who they had front and center the whole time.
Right.
They picked They picked the stunning blonde model to put front and center and to speak first, and that was intentional, right? To get his attention, because he was like you could hear his creepy voice being like, "Oh, they weren't. I can't do his voice at all. They're not hot enough." Like,
I won't do his voice because I don't want to insult the victims and the survivors in any way. Like, today won't be a day that I'll do my Trump impressions. I'll save those for another day. And it's just it's too much.
Yeah, it was just such a master class in comms, at least to me. I mean, granted, I'm going to be on their side no matter what, so I may not be the right one to ask. But I thought there was so much there was such a call for unity, the way that when he was like, I've never shared a stage with Marjorie Taylor Greene. This issue unites us all. There was a lot of language around not being a political issue that I thought was really smart. Oh no, Nick hated what
No,
I
I'm
just
here.
said, and there he went.
No, I just need to. I'm opening my office door.
Completely fine. I
No,
probably
I
should
loved
drop.
what you said.
Thank you. I should probably drop because my youngest starts high school today as a half day, and I've been completely neglecting my children other than to be like, you have to listen to this. This is history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, I can hang with you a couple more minutes, but then I need to drop to you probably at 15 after.
Yeah, and I think we can at 15 after. I think that marks a good point. We'll have been on for over 3 hours here. And what we'll do is between Lawrence, myself, Fred Pogue, we'll put out tons of videos from today's recording. We will put out shorts. We will make sure there's posts and things available so everyone has access to it. I think it's really important that we keep this message out. And I'm just really glad, Dana, that you joined.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sending me the link. I really appreciated it.
Always.
Yeah, it was. I'm I'm laughing, Lawrence. Imagine if we like our theme today for the Daily Whatever show was supposed to be like talking about our writing, and my writing this week is like 3 short essays I wrote about reemerging into the world of dating when an old relationship ended. I'm like, that's just so tone deaf right now.
Right.
Like it was like a hurried call 10 minutes before go time of like Lawrence being like, we need to end early so we can watch this live. And I'm like, yeah, and we need to just talk about what's about to happen, because how can we put and we did have a few people join like, hey, I thought you were going to be talking about writing. And we were like, we will, not today. So I'm still laughing when you were talking about posting shorts that I'm like, yeah, it's just hard to come into the conversation right now and be like, let me navel gaze for a moment and talk about my memoir when like history is unfurling in front of us.
History is happening. Yeah.
I loved what you guys did with the show this morning, though, was pivoting like that. Like I thought that was really good. I listened to the whole thing while I was setting up my stuff because
we had to contact our production assistant, our interns,
those free
our board of advisors. It was really like we had to be agile. No, we just called
super agile. Was Lawrence was the cat involved?
Oh, well, I mean, they're always involved. There's a towel on my desk.
They are the board of advisors.
The cats have decided to sit here and observe me up close when I'm doing important work.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, Kira barked her approval and said, "Oh my God, I don't know if I can turn my laptop around enough so you can see how cute my dog is being on the end of the sofa."
Very cute.
I love her so much. But every time she hears Lawrence's voice, like when we very first start, she is Winterman's dog. Like she hears Lawrence's voice and me sitting here and runs over to the edge of the sofa and is like, treat now, please. Because she knows I always give her one to be quiet. So
it makes sense. It's not just Kira. I have several men trained to do the same thing.
I'm so proud of you, Lawrence. Why can't I train men like this? Why can't I train men? I'm not good at it. I'm not good at training dogs either. I'm just free will.
I mean, men get compared to dogs.
That was a rhetorical question. I don't actually want to train a man. I think on that happy note, I should go.
Right. And on that note.
Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Release. Please sign the shit, Republicans. Just do it. You have a path forward to get out from under Trump. They see this as the opportunity to take him down. That's what this is.
Yeah,
they should.
This is a form of
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we should be like, fucking finally. How many years have we put up with this dude? They're finally, and then it's Marjorie Taylor Greene is just so fucking weird. But my virtual hat, I'm tipping to her like, fuck yeah, I will cheer on anyone who will give speeches like that on behalf of victims if she follows through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But she put herself out on the line. That was her political career. If this doesn't work, she's kind of fucked. So thank you for streaming it. Banner Backbone.
Thank you for
Lawrence. I really was so grateful to have a place to watch it. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for putting your voice in here with ours.
Of
We
course,
appreciate it.
I'm glad to do it. So I'm not that experienced with Restream. I'm just going to close the browser. That'll make me disappear, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Okay.
should be good. Thanks, Danny.
Bye. Bye.
And it did. Look at
Yeah.
that. Where it's Nick and Lawrence we're gonna close this out here over the next couple minutes. Lawrence, I got some monologuing in there. Dana got her final monologuing in there. What are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, I continue to think, optimistically that what we saw today was a pretty unique thing in American history, and I think it is going to have a real impact. This is just like gut sort of having existed in this political reality for a while now. My gut instinct is I think this is going to cut through. That may be wish casting, but I think seeing, a pretty extreme Democrat and two pretty extreme Republicans coming together, by all appearances, very amicably, right? Like they truly seem to work well together. And they all clearly seem to think that this is deeply important. And by centering the voices of the women, of the victims, I think they broke through. I really do. And so, I'm gonna, I know political predictions are a dangerous game. I'm gonna predict that by the end of the day today, there are two more Republicans who will put their names on the discharge petition, which means the full House should be able to vote on it. Then of course we have the regular machinations of the American government. There will need to be a matching effort in the Senate that will need to pass. Then a combined bill will have to go to the desk of the president, and whether Trump will sign it or not is a whole other ball of wax. But for the moment, I'm at least hopeful that the House can actually do something on this. And yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Good. It's a good story. I think we're all at the point of something can be done. Something can be done.
Yeah.
And this is the moment in time. If you want to get civically engaged, if you want to get involved, and you want to be a part of restoring our democracy to something that we actually want to have and want to live in and want to be a part of, now's the time. Call the Capitol switchboard, call your representative, have them vote yes on the discharge, sign it, and then vote yes on releasing the files. And if they don't, hold them to account and hold them to be culpable for protecting and complicit in child pedophilia and child sex trafficking, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to messaging, right? And that kind of messaging, I think, will break through. Like, if you don't vote for this, you are complicit in a cover-up, one of the biggest cover-ups in American history of a child sex trafficking ring, a pedophilia ring. Like, that's fucking disgusting. How can any person kind of live with themselves if that is the case? So
yeah, like how are you there?
Yeah.
So thank you, Lawrence. I think on that note, we can close for today. Is go believe, continue to believe these survivors, call your representatives, and make your voices heard.
Yeah.
This has been an incredible morning and early afternoon. It is not done. We will be continuing different discussions throughout the day. I'll be jumping on at some point, probably later. Hopefully Ellie and I can come back on as well. Keep a lookout for everybody. There's a lot going on and a lot to say, and a lot of news is going to be made today, I think. Call your representatives.
Nick, thanks for everything. Thanks for figuring out how to get the actual stream of the event working for Banner and Backbone. It was really, really great, and just really grateful for all the work that you've done to make this so successful.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me.
Yep.
If you haven't subscribe with Banner and Backbone, subscribe with Gen Xe, subscribe with Lawrence Winterman Writes, subscribe with Sick of the Shit with Nick, subscribe with Dana Dubois.
Walter
I forget
Ryan,
Dana's-
Ellie Leonard,
Walter Ryan, Ellie Leonard, Shane Urich, Melissa Corrigan, Jacob
Frederick
Summers, Frederick Pogue. Join all of us. Join us on Banner and Backbone. Join us in our friends of Banner and Backbone. Join us in saving this democracy. Let's do it, friends.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, y'all.